So my number one guilty pleasure movie is, and let me see if I can get the inflection on this title correct, A Talking Cat from 2013. This is directed by David Duchovny, starring Jodie Whittaker, Kristen Bell, and the legendary Eric Roberts in probably his best performance. The plot summary: a sassy feline helps a family resolve its problems. Yeah,
Oh,
there it is. That's what this was about. So this movie, which
quite scanty, just like the
yeah,
movie.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. This movie, because folks probably haven't heard of it, or maybe you have, is a very famously absolutely terrible film. So I'll talk a little. I actually started to talk about this a bit in our episode last week on group watching, where we covered The Room, another famously bad film,
Hmm.
where I touched on my love of bad movies. I'll expand on that a little bit here, and then I'd love to get your thoughts on this cinematic masterpiece. So I do, different from you, Karan, do really enjoy a certain type of really terrible film, and actually probably
Hmm.
can trace it back to a TV show that I was obsessed with as a high school student and then in college, called Mystery Science Theater 3000. This is a cable show where they took very, very terrible movies from like the 50s and 60s. And you would basically watch the movie as part of the show. So the episodes were like 2.5 hours. But in front of the screen, there'd be a little vignette of movie theater seats with a guy and two robots sitting there. And basically, they're making fun of the movie during the movie. So you're watching the film, but they're also making wisecracks and commenting on the film as the film plays. And I was obsessed with this. So as part of that show, I watched some of the worst movies that have ever been made in the context of being funny, like making fun of them, getting enjoyment out of this. So
Hmm.
because this is one of my favorite shows growing up, I think that is now why I have so many movies that are guilty pleasures
Hmm.
of mine that are just absolutely wretched films. Again, like The Room, and A Talking Cat is another one of those, and just the perfect exemplification of this entire genre of guilty pleasure that I have. And I know you don't share this guilty pleasure,
No,
so I'm very curious on your
but I'm
thoughts on this.
enjoying your inflection. Are you going to do this the whole time?
It's called A Talking Cat. For
Oh my
folks who haven't
gosh.
looked at the episode summary, it's the name or the title's A Talking Cat, exclamation point, question mark,
Question mark.
exclamation point. So I just want to make sure, yes, I am going to do that the whole time. It's I owe the
I
film
love it.
that, right? That they did that on purpose for a very specific reason. I want to, respect the artist's intent. But love to hear, yeah, what was your experience? Which again, I want to apologize ahead of time for making you watch this.
I think your performance of the title of the movies already exceeded what the movie is. So I think that does it. I think
that's
it's a
that.
wrap. We're done.
That's your.
Uh,
Those are your
that's
thoughts of the
that's
film
it.
right
Those are my
there.
thoughts. No, I mean, the moment I saw the movie started, I was like, oh, I know exactly why Alex loves this. Like, this is just complete. I mean, this is basically a home video,
Yes.
borderline bad porn movie.
Yes.
That's what this movie is. I
Yes.
kept waiting that, like, even the guy who plays the son of the main man,
The
the
dad.
older, the
Yeah.
dad, I was
Yeah.
like,
The millionaire,
this
whatever.
kid is from a porno, essentially.
He.
I mean, just look at him.
Yeah.
He's a
Actually,
twink waiting, you
yeah.
know?
The director actually has made a lot of sort of soft core gay porn,
Okay,
which,
that
and I
makes a
wouldn't be
lot of
surprised,
sense.
not that I've seen those films, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were also filmed in this house. Looks like a house
Probably.
right out of a porn set. Like everything
Definitely.
about this screams cheap
Yeah,
porn to me.
absolutely. But I mean, I guess I get it. I mean, I'm not stupid, so I get it why when something is just so bad and so senseless, it's obviously hilarious. And this movie, even more so than The Room, like
Mm-hmm.
the jump cuts and just the plot and oh, this is happening now, or why? Oh, this is happening now. Like the, it's mind numbing, but it's also very funny in that sense. Would I ever watch this again? Hell no. But did I have, at least it's not like, a million hours long. So
No, no, no. It
I
is. It
couldn't
is.
handle that.
It is
But
very short.
it's
Yeah.
very short for the duration of the movie. And look, unlike The Room, where you can see Tommy Wiseau's like passion come
Mm-hmm.
through,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's done very well. I don't know what comes through in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of passion, so like I referenced, Eric Roberts is in this. He actually is the voice of the
Yeah, Julia
title
Roberts'
character.
brother.
Yeah, Talking Cat, who's an actor actually I really like. He was in The Dark Knight. He's done some great performances, so he can act. But in this film, his dialogue which actually I found this out later after watching this for the first time, was recorded over the course of 20 minutes in an airport bathroom before he got onto a flight. And
That makes so much sense.
I mean, literally, the opening line is something like, "Hey guys, my name's Duffy. I'm a talking cat." Like, you can tell and you can hear the echo of the bathroom and his dialogue. It's just so you care. He doesn't care. So it is the exact opposite of Tommy Wiseau, who, even though he's making a terrible movie, he's putting his heart and soul into it. Eric Roberts is basically just like, eating his airport Subway in the middle of these takes to jump on a flight to go somewhere else. He's just literally doing this for the paycheck. But to me, that is actually what makes this so amazing, and why when I first started this movie, which I came across with my old roommate of mine who also was big fan of Mystery Science Theater, and we both loved watching bad movies, both of us. We came across this on Netflix. It's like, what is this? This looks so weird and cheap. And the second that Eric Roberts starts that dialogue, oh my God, we are in for some very special film here. Like, this is insane. And like you said, it makes no sense. The plot is all over the place. It's supposed to, again, be like a cat helping bring these two families together, but you don't really understand what the problems are. The dialogue is just insanely bad. There's this whole scene where the daughter of another family wants to go to business college. Very generic.
Gosh,
business college. I want to go to business college. You can't go to business college. Why do you always keep talking about business college all the time? You're making mom upset, the brother would be saying. And it's like written by Chat GPT or something. Actually, Chat GPT would probably do a better job.
Oh, for sure.
On the script than this. But that's what makes this so so bad it's good to me. I mean, you can even see the cat. There's scenes where you can see a laser pointer where they're trying to focus the cat's eyes.
Yes.
There's scenes where the cat's sitting there, just a bunch of like cat food in front of the cat, which clearly the filmmakers put there to make the cat stay or something. It's like no effort was put into this.
No effort.
To me is what makes it so enjoyable. I mean, I laugh at this every time I see it, but I love bad movies. I get enjoyment of terrible things to a certain extent. I mean, like I mentioned this on The Room as well. There are movies that are intentionally made bad, like A Cocaine Bear or Snakes on a Plane, which was another example of this. And I find that is like a sort of a cheap, cynical kind of cash grab to try to create like a memeified movie where you see Snakes on a Plane, which I did see opening weekend because it got all this hype back in 2004 or 5, whenever it came out, because the title was so outrageous. They cut together this crazy trailer with Samuel L. Jackson saying, "Get these goddamn snakes off the, MF and plane." And everyone's like, "Oh, cool, let's go see it." And then within 5 minutes, you're like, this movie just bad, but not in an enjoyable way, like Talking Cat. It's supposed to be, but then they're trying to make it bad, and that doesn't work. Whereas this movie, I mean, they're not putting any effort into it.
No,
not like Tommy Wiseau, they're not thinking this is Citizen Kane. This is literally just a cash grab, but it's that cynical lack of effort. To me, I don't know. I love it. I love this movie.
There's no effort whatsoever in this movie. Yeah, Business College was pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
No, that scene is there's some great, really bad dialogue, and her invention at the end of the movie ends up being this. It was kind of like in Clueless, where Cher has that software that helps create the perfect outfit.
Right.
But her invention, the production uses a book light like you would use, at night to read your book. And it's supposedly like scanning clothes. They wave this book light on these clothes, and there's this really bad sort of sound effects that they use, like scanning clothes or whatever. And then that kid is putting on these outfits, and it's just like, what is going on here? Like, again, no effort at all. Like, some of these scenes, you're like, they need another take, but they're like, you know what, just move on. Fine. And you mentioned the length as well. Another funny thing that I now, having watched so many bad movies, you can tell when they're doing this, but this movie is padded with so much establishing shots for no reason. Like, if they're cutting back to the house, there's like a 45-second shot of just like the house, and here's a beach, and because they want to pad the running time out so it's more than an hour. Just so it qualifies as a real movie.
I guess my question is, why make it? Like, if there's no passion, but are you going to make money off this?
So there is a whole industry of like very, very cheaply made children's films. I maybe if it wasn't obvious enough to the listeners, this is meant to be a kid's movie. So parents have very low quality bar when it comes to some parents. Like, hey, just put the kids something on the TV screen to like shut them up, have them watch the TV. So there's industries of like making a ton of very, very cheap kids movies. And actually, this company who made this, I haven't seen any of their other films, but there's like a talking pony and an Easter dog, and like they just churn these things out. They probably filmed them all on the same day.
Alex, you have the entire library.
Okay, you caught me.
Okay,
you,
right.
you caught me. Yeah, they have a streaming service. I subscribe to that.
Right. You're the only one on the mailing
I am.
list.
I'm the only one on the mailing list, but they keep making the movies for me. But honestly,
And
there's
it's
sort of a
hard copy mail, by the way. It's not
yes, right.
email. Yeah.
Yeah, they mail it to me. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
every month. But there is an industry in this, and making as many cheap family movies, package them all together. Hey, Netflix will sell you, 40 of these movies. Because again, I discovered this on Netflix just randomly, going through like a carousel on Netflix. It is sort of a cult hit now too. And there's a lot of even the guys who used to be at Mystery Science Theater, they have a podcast now where they make fun of movies still, and they covered this at one point. So there is sort of it's a famous bad movie, not to the extent of The Room. I don't think it's screened anywhere, but
No.
it screens a lot in my living room. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I enjoy Duffy's magical journey, and I should mention too. He's a talking cat, but he can only talk once to every person. He only has one scene he can share. That's part of this lore that they kind of like. Oh, there's a collar that makes a magic thing, and like you don't really understand what this plot is supposed to be about. But it's like he only talks once to one person. It's like this is your advice you're trying to give to these people. You're just magic talking cat. It's
overly complicated.
Yeah, it's so exactly needlessly complicated for no reason. But yeah, if you love bad movies and haven't seen this yet, I highly recommend checking it out. And if you don't like bad movies, don't watch this because it is a terrible film, and you will gouge your eyes out. Like I'm sure, Karan, you were wishing this was not for the podcast, so you would have to turn you would have turned this off before the opening credits even finished. I bet.
No. I wasn't bored, at least.
Okay, okay.
Admittedly, I might have fast forwarded some parts of it, but
yeah, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly. No, I noted. Yeah.
Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.